Members of the public, it is 6:31. I will call the Tuesday, July 17th, 2018 meeting of the Superior Common Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councillor Olson. Here. Councillor Van Sickle. Councillor Bender. Here. Councillor Sweeney. Here. Councillor Fennessy is excused. Councillor Elm. Here. Councillor Ludwig. Here. Councillor Sutherland. Here. Councillor Kern. Here. And Councillor Dahlbeck.
We have a quorum. Before we begin the formal meeting, I know there are members of the public here. If anybody wishes to speak under business by the public or any specific agenda item, we've left the sign-in sheet. Is still up there.
Somebody's got it right now.
Please sign in on the sheet. If there's a specific agenda item you'd like to speak to, please note what that item is. I think we might have some extra agendas over there, and we will call on you when the time comes.
Item number 4 is approval of the minutes from the June 19th regular council meeting.
The motion is by Councillor Bender, the second by Councillor Sutherland. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
We have a request to move up items 11.1 and 11.2 resolutions regarding bonding, if the council so agrees.
Yes, we so agree.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion by Councillor Bender and a second by Councillor Dahlbeck to amend the agenda to move said items to the front. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay. Item 11.1 is a resolution providing for the issuance, sale, and delivery of $1,435,000 taxable general obligation community development bonds, Series 2018C of the City of Superior, establishing the terms and conditions, directing their execution and delivery, creating a debt service account, and awarding the sale.
What is your pleasure, councilors? The motion is by Councillor Bender. The second is by Councillor Elm. Is there discussion? We have Mr. Tofty here if there are questions. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
11.2 is a resolution of the City of Superior amending resolution number R17-13324 and approving execution on modification agreement form and modification agreement.
Motion is by Councillor Bender, the second by Councillor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
We also have a request to move up item 13.1, which is the DNR presentation on restoring the piping plover habitat project, if the council so agrees.
The motion is by Councillor Kern, the second by Councillor Ludwig to amend the agenda. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me now? All right. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I really appreciate the opportunity to share the piping plover nesting habitat restoration project we're working on. I'm Cherie Hagan with the Wisconsin DNR, and I'm our Lake Superior supervisor. And it's good to see a couple of you. We were out on the boat last summer. So today I want to give you an overview of the project, talk a little bit about it, how it ties into the Great Lakes area of concern. Some of you are probably familiar with that, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but I think it's important to provide a little bit of background. So essentially, I'm going to give you an overview of the project, where we're at, the timeline, the status, answer any questions you might have, and any other input you might want to provide. All right, so the St. Louis River is a Great Lakes area of concern. There are 43 in the United States. There are areas where there's been pretty significant environmental degradation, primarily related to contaminated sediments and habitat loss. We are one of the St. Louis River. The St. Louis River is one of the area of concerns. The whole goal with the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, a portion of that, is to restore these areas. So over the last 5 years, there's been about $100 million invested in restoring these areas of concern. So there's significant dollars going into the communities where these area of concerns exist. So here in the St. Louis River, we share the river with our partners in Minnesota. We've developed what we're calling a remedial action plan, and basically what this action plan is it outlines the roadmap for how we want to remove beneficial use impairments, and I'll talk about that in a minute, and then ultimately delist the area of concern, and our goal is 2025. Our St. Louis River has 8 or 9 beneficial use impairments. Tonight we're going to be talking about the degradation of fish and wildlife beneficial use impairment and how the piping plover habitat restoration project will contribute to these efforts. The action that we've identified in this plan is to increase available nesting habitat within areas designated as critical habitat, and that has been done by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This is also a great opportunity to beneficially use dredge material and work with the Army Corps of Engineers. They need to get rid of material in the estuary, and we need it to build projects for an endangered species. So it's a pretty cool opportunity. And there's lots of other projects that we're working with the city on that have to do with the area of concern. I think Linda's going to talk about Barker's Island. Here's just an overview map of all of the different contaminated sediment projects and habitat projects in the St. Louis River. There's quite a few of them, and we're in full implementation mode. We've been doing that, hot and heavy for probably the last 5 years. 35% of our actions, 34% are already completed, 65% are in progress, and there's only one action that we haven't started, but we will start this year. So just a little bit of an overview of the area of concern. Now, a little bit about the piping plover. So why do we care about the piping plover? Well, they're endangered, and they once nested here in the estuary. So one of the things we're trying to do with the AOC is to restore habitat. And we looked at this area of concern as an opportunity to restore lost habitat for this species. It was listed in the mid-'80s, and that's about the same time the last nesting pair stopped nesting here in the estuary. Most of the decline was due to habitat loss. They like open sandy beaches with some cobble, and we've lost that over time in the estuary. The Fish and Wildlife Service has a Great Lakes piping plover recovery goal that they're trying to achieve, and this project can help contribute to that if we actually get nesting pairs here. The population is on the recovery, so they're looking for places to nest. So now's a perfect time to get out and do habitat restoration projects. There's been a concerted effort by the Fish and Wildlife Service to pull species experts together to create a Wisconsin-Minnesota piping plover management plan and identify sites in Wisconsin and Minnesota that are good potential sites for restoration. So we pulled together a project team. The primary leads on this project are Wisconsin DNR, US EPA, who's the funder, and the Army Corps of Engineers. They're essentially acting as our contractor and designer. We're also working with the city. Linda's on our team, Sea Grant. We've got the Fond du Lac Band of Chippewa, St. Louis River Alliance, as I think most of you know, they do a lot of work with piping plover. So we've got a pretty broad group that helps direct this project. So the Wisconsin-Minnesota Piping Plover Management Plan basically identified a couple of sites within the estuary that were good potential for piping plover. Minnesota Point is one of those on the end near the airport and the Army Corps property. In Wisconsin, we've got the end of Wisconsin Point. It's the bird sanctuary, which DNR owns. And then there's also Schaefer Beach. So I'll just this is Schaefer Beach. This is the bird sanctuary, and then this is the end of Minnesota Point, which is also suitable. After further discussion with the species experts, Schaefer Beach was a site we were looking at closely, and there's been a lot of work on Schaefer Beach. And it's an important stopover habitat for the bird, but not as suitable for nesting because there's a lot of woody debris that washes up there, and it's a challenge to manage. And so we took a step back and looked at what are some other sites, and we landed on the bird sanctuary site, which is this site right here. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So why did we pick the bird sanctuary? Well, U.S. Fish and Wildlife said this is a good site to go to. Species experts agreed. The City of Superior's Wisconsin Point Management Plan also identifies it as an area for piping plover management. Piping plover nested here in the past. 1977 was the last time they nested at this site. And Wisconsin DNR owns and manages the site. There's going to be long-term management needed out there, and so we need an entity who can step up and do that. So the overall project goals are to create an open sand, kind of cobble beach suitable for piping plover nesting and foraging. Foraging is eating, kind of the ingress and egress out of the water. The species experts provided the team with kind of the basic design criteria they were looking for, and that's what informed the design. We also want to beneficially use dredge material to construct habitat. We're looking at Eastgate Basin material, which is clean native sand. That material is being used elsewhere in the estuary, and we've done a lot of looking into that material, so we feel confident that it can be used for an endangered species habitat. And then, of course, we need to develop that long-term plan to maintain the habitat, including public outreach. Because the public's going to see this nice, big, open beach area, and it'll be important that we communicate the species need out there. And it is a wildlife reserve right now, and it's closed for a portion of the year, and it will continue to be closed as we move forward. So right now we're at about the 30% project design. Let's see. If you can, this is the existing beach that's been managed by the St. Louis River Alliance. So they have funding from Fish and Wildlife Service. They've cleared this area to make it more suitable. And then it kind of goes out with the high water. I think this looks like an island right now, and this is the previous turn island that DNR created in kind of the mid-90s, and that's severely eroded. But we're looking to expand quite a bit. If you can see, we're pulling out the toes. We're bringing in a lot of sand. We're looking at about 80,000 cubic yards of material that will be coming out of the estuary. And this will primarily be the end here will be the nesting habitat, with this area being more of the foraging habitat. We are currently assessing if we need coastal protection or not, so that's what this outer line is. You know, if there would be coastal protection, I don't know if it would be exactly right here or not, but there's extensive modeling occurring, wave dynamic modeling, sediment transport modeling to understand what type of erosion we would see and how long would this habitat feature last. And then here's just a quick picture. I don't know if you guys can see it. Here's the project site, and then this is the Eastgate Basin area. So that's the area we would be getting the dredge material from. The basic project components are, using dredge material to create the beach, expand the beach. We need to bring in gravel and cobble to create nesting habitat for the species. We're going to be doing dune grass restoration. Right now there's an existing perimeter fence. That fence really needs to be replaced from a predator standpoint to keep predators out. And those are the major components. I think long term there's a lot of other endangered species out there we'll be managing for, and we're going to be doing an assessment probably next week to see if we can do wild rice restoration there as well. So our tentative project schedule is we're in design right now. We hope to complete design by 2018. In May, we held a public information session, and there was a public comment period. We didn't have a lot of turnout for that event, and we didn't really receive many comments. But we do plan to apply for the permits probably late 2018 here, and there will be another public comment period during the permit process. Hope to get those permits in mid-2019 with construction starting in 2019, and that would be if all goes well. But we're under kind of a tight schedule, so we got to get moving. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to give you a little bit of an overview. These are the different project managers. I'm the one from Wisconsin DNR, and then Amanda's from the Corps and Sue Virgilio from EPA. a big thank you to the city, and this kind of gets at AOC. I don't get to get up here very much, but we work with the city on so many of these area of concern projects, and we could not do it without folks like Linda, Darianne, Christy. I mean, it's just been amazing, all the projects we've been able to work on with the city. So we just really appreciate your partnership, and thank you for working with us, because we couldn't do it alone. And one last thing, this is just kind of a preview. This year, we will be moving forward on removal of two beneficial use impairments, the fish tumors and deformities. That's probably coming in the next couple months, and then the excessive loading of sediment and nutrients. So just kind of a heads up that there'll be public input involved in those as well. So thank you. I don't know if there's any questions.
Thank you. Are there questions for Ms. Hagan? Councilor Kern.
I see how the greatest part, like you said, the partnership that the city and these other partners have had. Is there a reason why Douglas County is not a partner in this?
Well, Douglas County they were invited because we were working with them on Schaefer Beach, because that's the county property, and they declined to participate in this because it wasn't their property.
Okay.
So I think if it was, they would be more involved. But there's that bigger Wisconsin-Minnesota piping plover management plan effort that U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is leading, and it's my understanding the county is part of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Further questions? Thank you.
Item number 6 is the consent agenda.
The motion is by Councilor Bender. I'm sorry, who made the second? Councilor Sutherland made the second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 7.1 is the Finance Committee meeting recommendations from the June 14th meeting.
The motion is by Councilor Elm. The second is by Councilor Bender. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
7.2, Human Resources Committee recommendations from their June 18th meeting.
Motion is by Councilor Ludwig. The second is by Councilor Bender. And councilors, if you will, one of the items here is item number 4, as it's listed on my agenda, is length of service language. I think that needs more discussion than it's had, and was hoping to see that tabled for now. We'll be working within the administration, bring some language back eventually. So if you wouldn't mind it, I would entertain a motion to table.
Motion to table.
I have a motion from Councilor Bender and a second from Councilor Sutherland to table item 4. The motion to table, is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Main motion. Is there further discussion on the balance of the Human Resources Committee? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 7.3 is the License and Fees Committee recommendations from their July 9th meeting. Councilor Dahlbeck is requesting item 1 be referred back to License and Fees for further discussion.
First, let's take a motion to approve item 7.3. Is there a motion to approve item 7.3? Motion is by Councilor Olson, second by Councilor Bender. And then, Councilor Dahlbeck, do you still wish to make the motion to refer? With a second by Councilor Kern. Discussion on the motion to refer. Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. The balance of item 7.3. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 7.4 is the Plan Commission recommendations from their June 20th meeting.
Motion is by Councilor Dahlbeck, the second by Councilor Bender. Is there discussion? Councilor Ludwig.
I guess I would like to speak to the north end where we're, the area where we're placing the signs. We have this wonderful memorial honoring our veterans, and and I went out there just physically to look at this, and and the trees, nicely circle that. And I just think where we're putting the signs is a little bit too close to the memorial, and I think it's going to detract. I feel it's going to detract from it. My husband's a veteran, my son is a veteran, and I just hate to detract from honoring our veterans with, with placing signs. And also with the Bong being across the road, most people, I would say a lot of people when they're visiting the Bong, head over to that Veterans Memorial. And the signs are like right in the pathway when you're crossing over there. So I guess I would like to see that setback just a little bit further. Going, I guess it would be, more towards the lake, the setback. So that would be my suggestion.
Council, we're pulling up the language of the policy right now.
I think the setback's 20 feet
20 feet from,
from the Veterans Memorial. I mean, even if we went back like another, I would say 10 feet.
so are you proposing an amendment to this policy to extend the setback from 20 feet? It currently says south entrance signs must be at least 20 feet from the intersection of Marina Drive and East 2nd Street, and must be at least 10 feet from the curb along East 2nd Street, US Highway 2 and 53. Are you proposing an amendment to change the 20 feet from Marina Drive to 30 feet? Is that what I heard correct?
So, well, it would, I guess, at least 30 feet from the, from where the veterans, I think right now, what does it say the setback for 20 feet from the Veterans Memorial, right? Is that what it says?
Do you see language to the veterans? Jason, do you know, does it specifically mention the Veterans Memorial, or?
I don't have that in front of me right now.
I'm seeing 20 feet from Marina Drive.
I think
so
it-
if you want to set it back from the Veterans Memorial,
We can,
I think it, I remember reading, I know it said, it referred specifically to the
Oh,
north,
there, we
to
found-
the
I'm
north
sorry, we found it,
entrance.
yeah.
And
And
it
can
said, didn't it say 20 feet from the Veterans Memorial?
yes.
so the language, the setback here says, and can be no closer than 20 feet from the Veterans Memorial site. So that's what you're proposing, be 30 feet, or?
So, yes, so that, because I think if it was 30 feet, it would take care of it, because then it would have to be further, set back further.
We then have a motion to amend the policy, to amend the motion to change 20 feet from the Veterans Memorial Site to 30 feet from the memorial site. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
The second is by Councilor Dahlbeck. Discussion. Councilor Kern, discussion on this amendment?
I understand the need for the signs there for the businesses that are down in Barker's Island and wanting them to have that down there. But at our last Parks and Rec meeting, we had a group come forward that wants to start looking at that whole entire area more comprehensively and put together a bigger and grander scheme with adding some things to it. I just hate to see us pass something that it seems like we're not quite sure exactly the distance or where we're going. I'd actually like to see it just referred back and then kind of talk with the people from the Veterans Memorial that's putting that together and see what they're kind of looking at doing and then come up with a better ordinance or resolution for that.
Okay, we'll deal with this amendment first, and then we'll take up a motion to refer if that's your pleasure. The current motion before you is to amend to put the signs further back from the Veterans Memorial by 10 feet. Further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, we have a split vote. I'm going to take a roll call. The motion is to amend the setback from 20 feet to 30 feet.
Okay, if we vote.
Counselor Olson.
Yes.
Counselor Van Sickle. Counselor Bender.
Yes.
Counselor Sweeney. No. Counselor Fennessy is excused. Counselor Elm.
No.
Counselor Ludwig.
Yes.
Counselor Sutherland.
No.
Counselor Kern.
No.
Counselor Dahlbeck.
Yes.
That's a 5-4. Motion fails.
The motion to amend fails. The main motion. Councilor Kern, did you want to make a motion to refer?
Yeah, in light of what I said, I'd like to refer this back to the committee, please.
To Plan Commission? The motion is to refer back to the Plan Commission by Councilor Kern. The second is by Councilor Bender. Is there discussion on the motion to refer? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Do we have a motion to approve the Plan
I'm sorry,
Commission?
we need to approve the ballot. We do have a motion to approve 7.4, the remainder of the Plan Commission, which is just item 2. Further discussion on the motion. Councilor Olson, were you trying to take the floor?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Further discussion on 7.4? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 7.5 is the Public Safety Committee recommendations from the June 20th meeting.
The motion is by Councilor Ludwig, the second by Councilor Elm. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 7.6 is the Public Works Committee recommendations from the June 20th meeting.
Motion is by Councilor Dahlbeck. The second is by Councilor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 8.1, I am submitting miscellaneous licenses for approval.
The motion is by Councilor Bender, the second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 8.2, I am submitting an application to amend the premise of a Class B liquor and beer license for the Flame Nightclub, 1612 Tower Avenue, for a special event on September 1st.
The motion is by Councilor Dahlbeck, the second by Councilor Elm. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 8.3, I'm recommending approval of a one-day cabaret and amendment of a premise for Grumpy's Tavern, 3223 East 2nd Street, for a special event on July 28th.
Motion is by Councilor Dahlbeck, second by Councilor Sutherland. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 8.4, I am recommending approval to amend the premise of a Class B liquor and beer license for Bird's Bar, 5801 Tower Avenue, for a special event on July 21st.
Motion is by Councilor Bender, the second by Councilor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 8.5, Planning Director Cirque is recommending approval to award the bid for a parcel of land located at 1606 Oaks Avenue to Roger Farley in the amount of $1,050.
Motion is by Councilor Dahlbeck, the second by Councilor Elm. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 8.6 has been referred back to the Plan Commission. Item 8.7, Public Works Director Janigo is recommending approval to authorize a 10-year lease with the commemorative Air Force Lake Superior Squadron 101 to lease the office portions and hangar space of the City Terminal Building A1 at the Richard I. Bong Memorial Airport with lease payments of $1,200 per month.
Motion is by Councilor Dahlbeck, the second by Councilor Sutherland. Is there discussion? Councilor Kern.
Yeah, Todd, was that the airplane on the front page of the paper the other day that they were transporting? It was really nice to see in the paper saying that it's going from Duluth to Superior for its new home. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that was nice. We had a little bit of a with council meetings and timings and stuff. So what we did is we gave them a short term of 60 days. So they had everything lined up for July 9th, waiting for this meeting and the way it went through the finance committee meeting and stuff. So it was just a matter of getting this done. So yeah, that was the plane. There's two of them out there in the hangar. There'll be one of them fully assembled out on the tarmac that you'll be able to look at, and they'll be working on the other one in the hangar.
This is as good a time as any to congratulate Director Janigo. This was something of a complicated negotiation. There were a lot of moving parts to make sure that this happened the way that it did. And bringing the commemorative Air Force to Superior really is a big win, and it was kind of hard to do. And so I wanted to congratulate Director Janigo. Good job on that.
Chris Bronson and Jane Mickle were also a big part of it. The three of us worked together on it, and none of us do much on our own without a team of people.
At some point, you're going to have to let us say thank you to you, though. There is a motion on the. Sorry, did you say something, Councilor Olson?
Nope.
At some point. Further discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Okay, item 8.8 has been pulled at the request of Director Knott. Item 8.9 is recommending approval to A, award the construction services for the Barkers Island Beach Restoration Project to Stack Brothers Mechanical Contractors in the amount of $642,946.17, and to approve the amount of $82,194.17 of additional funding from the 2019 CIP Parks General Improvements.
Motion to approve.
The motion is by Counselor Olson, the second by Counselor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Counselor Kern.
Seeing that we're pulling from the 2019 CIP, which I assume that we probably had some projects slated through Parks and Rec as well, is that something that we're going to address when we're starting to look at the CIP budget as well?
I'll let Director Kadot expand if she'd like to, but yes, this does take from park projects in 2019, certainly. We will have to go back and revisit the CIP at the end of the year, of course, and the hope is that you always want to be able to put that back into park improvements if there's some more money, but I think this is a recognition of the fact that Barkers Island is a pretty substantial improvement to a park/recreation area, and so this is just the most common sense place to take it from. Director Kadot, anything to add to that? Or Jean?
Sure. We actually increased the funding for parks in 2019. It was up from the usual $140,000 a year. It was bumped up to $200,000. So this won't. I mean, this will take up, if approved, it takes up $82,000 of that $200,000. But as the mayor said, our CIP seems to be kind of a very flexible and moving budget anyway. So we'll be, I'm certain, bringing that forward, if not in the next few months, early in 2019. And I'm kind of always seeking updates from department heads or mayor on changes in projects. So it's very fluid and it can be changed.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 8.10, Director Kadot is recommending approval to waive the proposal requirements for services over $25,000 and approve the award for Barkers Island Inner Beach Project Construction Oversight Services to AMI Consulting Engineers for the not-to-exceed amount of $26,720.
The motion is by Counselor Bender, the second by Counselor Sutherland. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 9.1, Mayor Payne is recommending approval to appoint Nick Nelson to the Community Development Block Grant Advisory Board, to appoint Mary Clun to the Library Board, and to appoint Karina Heim to the Wisconsin Point Committee.
The motion is by Counselor Bender, the second by Counselor Dahlbeck. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Before I move on, I just want to, I should have said this a few minutes ago when we were discussing the sign requirements for the Plan Commission. In the meantime, first I wanted to thank Counselor Ludwig for her concern for the Veterans Memorial. That's very important to me too, and I know to many of the veterans in this community. So in the meantime, we have some discretion over where those signs are placed. I've been in contact with a few of those businesses as well and expressed my concern for keeping that Veterans Memorial clear. And so we'll make sure that until we have some resolution about what exactly it's going to look like in the end, we'll protect that memorial.
Okay. Item 10 is business by councilors. Counselor Bender.
Yes, actually, I have two items. The first of which is North Country Independent Living is having their 30th anniversary expo next Thursday, July 27th, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., and it's at the Mariner Mall, and it says, come enjoy free food and great entertainment, adaptive equipment, demonstrations, music, dancing, kids' games, activities. Yes, you can get your face painted. Silent auction and prizes. And it's a great event, and I will be there working it in my shirt. And also, I was remiss in not getting this into the agenda, but it's a resolution supporting National Night Out on Tuesday, August 7th, 2018. And the city of Superior, or the City of Superior City Council does ordain as follows. Whereas communities across the United States have designated August 7th, 2018 as National Night Out to celebrate community and neighborhood awareness and unity, and whereas the purpose of the National Night Out is to generate support and participate in local anti-crime efforts to strengthen neighborhood spirit and police community partnerships, to heighten crime and drug prevention awareness, and to send a message to criminals that neighborhoods are fighting back. Whereas various neighborhoods in the City of Superior have held National Night Out functions in past years, some of which were attended by some city councilors. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Superior City Council wishes to express its support for the National Night Out and the goals and purposes behind it. Be it further resolved that the Superior City Council hereby expresses its support for the 35th National Night Out on August 7th, 2018, and encourages the administration and various neighborhoods throughout the city to facilitate and participate in the event by spending a night out with their neighbors.
Thank you, Counselor. Further business by councilors. Counselor Kern.
Well, about
No. Counselor Van Sickle.
Thanks. I just have a laundry list I'll go through as quickly as possible. I just want to quickly thank Chiefs Panger and Alexander for their support, and to the council, a thank you too for your support on Kids Don't Float. It's meant a lot to me. We tend to get to be on the news, and we tend to get a lot of credit, but without the folks on that side, our jobs would be much more difficult. I want to thank Director Cirque for your help with the fence change. It's going to mean a lot to the people that we represent. But most of all, I'd like to thank Public Works. Between the flood and my endless asks for crosswalks and cuts that are colored in all of the ways that I want them to be bright, for pedestrians and kiddos and senior citizens out there, for every sign that I am not knocking over, you're out there the next day, and it happens very quickly. And I just want to thank all of you for your always prompt response and for being so generous with your time and expertise. Thank you.
Well, take that, Todd. Further business by councilors. Thank you.
We are on to 11.3 is a resolution introduced by the City of Superior declaring a state of emergency due to the heavy rains and flooding June 15th through 19th.
Motion to approve.
Motion is by Counselor Bender, the second by Counselor Elm. Is there discussion? Seeing, Counselor Van Sickle, I assume you just forgot to turn your light off. Is there discussion? Seeing none. Counselor Olson.
Could you give us a little bit of an update?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You asked for this under business by the mayor. Woodlawn, Counselor Olson asked me to update, give an update on Woodlawn Avenue. Director Janigo, would you mind?
Absolutely. I've got the list in front of me, and Chris and I were talking about consultants to do the work. The Woodlawn, and we've got another location in town that are qualified as, they're functionally classified roadways, so they fall under the jurisdiction of the Federal Highway Administration. So we'll be working through them. We've got FEMA in town for other things, so working with them. I got approval of the process of those projects last, I want to say Wednesday, that those were indeed they indeed qualified, the work that was going to be done qualified, and that we would receive funding for it. So we've been putting together an RFP, a short-term one, to distribute to consultants to get that out, to have a design done. The RFP has to be approved by the DOT and Federal Highway, and then once we get a consultant on board, that has to be approved by those agencies, and so there's a little bit of a process to go through there. Once we can cut them loose, it should be a short time frame in turning around a design and then getting a contractor on board, going through the bidding process. Because it's federal money and there's a lot of steps, there's bidding requirements, there's requests for qualifications, a lot of procedures that need to be followed. So we're not racing down that road. We're trying to go fast, but being careful to not slip up and jeopardize any funding. So our goal would be to have Woodlawn open before the snow flies. There's environmental documentation that goes into it and permitting as well. So trying to sandwich all of those into a short time frame.
Any questions, councilors? Thank you. Councilor Sutherland.
Just a quick question for you. How often, every time we get a flood, does that road tend to wash out?
It has. In the last 2011, it overtopped. 2012, it overtopped. I want to say 2016, it overtopped, and now again in 2018. 2018 was the highest it's been, which is about 4 feet over what it was in 2012. So the bridge was actually inundated. So this was a pretty serious one. It was less harsh on the city of Superior as a whole. The intense rains were south and west and east, but didn't necessarily hit us. The way those approaches are designed is it's designed so that the road's going to flood and release the pressure rather than the bridge flood and do damage to the bridge, because it's easier to rebuild the bridge and easier to rebuild the roadway and cheaper than it is to rebuild the bridge. So that's the way it's designed. What we're finding though is we're trying to go through different iterations of trying things that have worked in other places where the roads are overtopped. And we've got a couple of different ideas this time with some clay we've got up on 58th. But what happens is with the super elevation being up in the air, the water it's like a stick sticking up upstream, and it's catching it rather than pointing downstream. So if we flatten that out and try to seal that up better, then we won't get that liquefaction of the sand, because you see how the roadway just kind of floated away.
Yeah.
The water pressure got under there and just floated the asphalt away. So we looked at some relief culverts. We'd have to do about 50 of them along there if you look at a 6-foot culvert in order to 1,200 feet of water at 4 feet deep, 1,200 lineal feet. So the amount of water that we'd have to try to take through there, or put a bridge all the way across it. And so if I can convince Federal Highway that that's the way to go and get them to pay for a bridge all the way across, that's what we'll do. But it's highly unlikely that they'll go that route. So some additional armoring upstream is what we want to try this time. The armoring downstream that we did the last time around, the riprap, that's all still there, tied in. That's pretty good. So we've got a pretty good base to build off of. It shouldn't be a long construction project, but it's just a matter of getting all the I's dotted and T's crossed so we can get it funded. So if it overtops in 2019, the goal would be that it overtops and the water goes down. We walk it once and make sure there isn't any washouts or any issues and open it back up. That's what we're shooting for.
So I guess maybe if we could think of future down the line, what would it be? It feels like we're always going back and fixing that road. Maybe we can put 50 culverts in. It'll be cheaper than repairing that road every couple of years. I know I'm not in your position.
Absolutely, so. And that's part of the process with Federal Highway and with DOT. That's their funding. They look at it, the flood resiliency, because you've got to put it back to what it was, right. And then you've got resiliency. So whatever resiliency they'll let us add, okay. Without spending our own dollars on it. That's what we'll try to do.
Well, thanks for your update.
Absolutely.
Further questions or discussion on the resolution declaring a state of emergency? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 12.1 is a preliminary ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee and the Public Safety Committee and Parks and Recreation Commission, repealing and recreating Chapter 90, motorized recreational vehicles.
So this is not agendized for approval, but is there discussion? Councilor Sutherland.
Yeah, maybe we give a little update. Maybe Janica, would you help us out with that there?
Absolutely. Approximately yesterday, the email bills already went out, so they had the stuffers that wasn't attached as an item, but there should be in the area of 9,500 somewhere in there mailings going out yesterday and today and tomorrow, with that stuffer in there that's got that I sent to all of you that describes what we're going to be doing with an all-season ATV, UTV route on the roads, the maps, the area maps, the ordinance, and so I would think that if there's going to be any feedback, and then over the next week or two, that's when it'll come. When every resident that receives a utility bill will get this information and can further look it up. Other than that, we're kind of waiting on the council to take action on it. Once we have action, then we can get our sign crew, the guys that do the painting, out there to start hanging signs, if that's the route we go.
And I'd like to thank you for everything you're doing with it too as well. You get the gold star for the day. Giannigo. Hopefully this could be brought up by first meeting in August, but we'd like to inform the public more about this subject, or topic, I should say. And I think your mailers you got going out, 9,500 of them, maybe we can pick up something with the newspaper and any other social media or any way of getting it out to the public and start working on that. So thanks a lot.
Further discussion? Thank you.
Item 12.2 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee, amending calendar parking by adding Broadway Street between John and Hammond Avenues.
The motion is by Counselor Dahlbeck, the second by Counselor Bender. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Item 12.3 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee, amending the traffic code, streets excluded from calendar parking by adding Maryland Avenue between Wellington and North 24th Street.
The motion is by Counselor Kern, the second by Counselor Sutherland. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
12.4 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee, amending the traffic ordinance by adding no parking on even side of the streets, Maryland Avenue between Wellington and North 24th Streets.
Motion is by Counselor Kern, the second is by Counselor Sutherland. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
12.5 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Committee, amending the traffic code by adding stops at Hammond Avenue and North 12th Street.
Motion is by Counselor Dahlbeck, the second by Counselor Elm. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
12.6 is an ordinance introduced by the Department of Planning and Development to amend the construction code, residential fences.
The motion is by Counselor Dahlbeck, the second by Counselor Van Sickle. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
12.7 is an ordinance introduced by the Finance Committee, amending disposition of surplus, abandoned, or unclaimed property.
The motion is by Counselor Kern. The second is by Counselor Sweeney. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 12.8 has previously been referred back to the License and Fees Committee. We have a handful of people signed up under business by public.
So, members of the public, those of you that have signed up to speak under business by public, we will call you up in the order that you signed up. I will hopefully pronounce your names correctly, but when you approach the podium, please say and spell your name. Well, no, you don't have to spell your name. We've got it. But please state your name and your address, and then we will require you to adhere to the rules of the council, which limit you to 3-minute speaking time, exactly 3 minutes. They can amend that time, but if they do not, and unless they take action to do so, I will be enforcing that time literally. I will give you a warning at 2 minutes and 40 seconds that you only have 20 seconds remaining, but then you will have to cease speaking, and we will call the next speaker. Unless there are any questions, we will move forward with the first speaker, who is Kevin Swanberg.
Hello, my name is Kevin Swanberg. My address is 2121 1/2 Vermillion Road, 55803. And I just want to start by thanking you all so much for giving me the opportunity to speak, and to thank you all for your leadership in this community. I came here tonight because I'm concerned about hydrogen fluoride, which is housed at the Husky Superior Refinery, and I'm concerned about the threat that poses for our community. A 2011 report by the Center for Public Integrity stated that the hydrogen fluoride at that refinery endangers 180,000 people in this region. The current safety measures at that refinery, I believe, are insufficient. This is demonstrated if we look at the largest release of hydrogen fluoride ever, which was in 1987, where officials tried to use a water curtain similar to the one at our refinery to stop the cloud, and it failed and hundreds of people were hospitalized. My ask for you all tonight is that you review your authority granted under Home Rule, which is given to all municipalities in Wisconsin, and determine whether that authority gives you the opportunity to ban hydrogen fluoride in Superior. When doing so, you might also consider the Wisconsin State Supreme Court ruling of Local Union Number 487 IAFF-CIO versus Eau Claire that states that a municipality may act, even in an area of statewide concern, if there is no express language in the statutes restricting your power. I would ask that you please have your city attorney release a statement either confirming that Home Rule does not give you the authority, or please state why Home Rule can't be used to regulate the hydrogen fluoride and cite any relevant statute there. That's my ask for you tonight, and I would appreciate if you take the time to think it through. If you didn't catch some of that, you can find the Home Rule and Supreme Court ruling information in the latest issue of Zenith News. The feature article there states it. And again, I thank you all so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Brenda Martini.
Hi, Brenda Martini, 1559 Evergreen Drive, Cloquet, Minnesota, 55720. I am running for an office in Carleton County, and I do have a concern regarding the HF tank. Carleton County and the district I'm running for is also butting up on the Wisconsin state line. And the big concern that I had with the Husky explosion was the possibility of that tank exploding and then that cloud going airborne. I was living I do remember the train derailment from the late 80s where that benzene cloud. And what they were doing was going door to door in Carleton County, warning us to stay inside. And they did come to my door, knock on it, and did the same thing. And that's kind of my concern, because we live by the big pond and we know how that wind change can happen on a dime. And this would affect more than just the city of Superior and Wisconsin. When that stuff goes airborne, it's not going to know, oh, this is the state line, I can't cross this. So that's my concern with this. And I also have some questions related to, and I don't expect answers right now, but I will pose these questions for the record going forward. Curiosity is how many tons of debris, soot, smoke, etc. went into the atmosphere? That number has not been released yet, so that there is a curiosity of that as well. We also want to let you know that in Carleton County, the air did not smell right in the days following the explosion. I also was in the city of Duluth the following morning, and there was that smell and taste of burnt rubber in the air. So just letting you know, in Minnesota, the air just wasn't smelling right. So that was my question related to that. And of that amount, how much was found in lakes, streams, farm fields, people's lawns, and so forth? So if there could be a breakdown of that. And then also, what kind of emergency response plan is in place if that, God forbid, that HF tank should blow in the future? So those are my questions and some consideration going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Cheryl Dahlberg.
I'd like to thank you for welcoming public input concerning issues that aren't scheduled tonight. I realize that time is a precious commodity for all of us, so I'm grateful for this opportunity.
I'm sorry, Ms. Dahlberg. Would you mind stating your address, please?
My name is Cheryl Dahlberg. I live at 2324 John Avenue here in Superior.
Thank you.
And I recently have weathered the disaster from the Husky refinery, as everyone else here in this community has. I'm not here to besmear anyone's character or destroy anybody's reputation or their ability to make a living, but I'm here because I'm deeply concerned about this use of hydrogen fluoride. I think by now we've all been made aware of the dangers, and also we've been made aware that there are reasonable alternatives available. If you take a look at the quarterly reports from Husky Energy, we see that they're up 250% in their profits. I think that they have the financial resources to make this change. I'm wondering what steps that you have taken to date, if any, the city and the council representatives, in continuing conversations with the Husky executives to encourage the change from using hydrogen fluoride so that this might be a safer industry in our community. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker is Carol Thomas.
I'm not going to ask a lot of questions because I can't hear the answers.
Sir, ma'am, would you mind stating your name and address, please?
Carol Thomas, 2344 John Avenue.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I remember seeing on television, and you don't have to be as old as I to remember this because it's been repeated, about the Hindenburg disaster. Those were propelled by hydrogen. And the announcer who covered that story, if you remember seeing the replay, as the dirigible was burning up and bodies falling and parts falling, if I could only reenact it, said, "Oh, the humanity, the humanity." Is this what we have to wait for someone to say that about Superior and Duluth and in Byron's? If Husky is permitted to keep on with the hydrogen fluoride? The other question I wanted to ask was, and this is insignificant compared to the casualties that could happen if there was an explosion, what is this current problem with the continued use of this going to do to our homeowners insurance and commercial property insurance? Does anybody know about that? I didn't do my homework on that, but I think that's a question that we should all be concerned with. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is, I believe, Inez Holt.
My name is Enos Holte. I live at 4944 Apple Avenue, which is right outside of Duluth, Minnesota. And I'm not one of your constituents. That the reason I'm here is because I have no power. But you here hold the power of life and death over a huge amount of people, including myself, my children, my grandchildren, and all the other people that I know. I'm not going to go over any scientific research, which you all know about the 180,000 people. It's no surprise. I'm asking you to have Husky eliminate HFC and go to a safer process that Chevron is doing in Salt Lake City, Utah right now. Not because they're forced to, but they chose. And Husky, I'm sure, is an equally viable company as Chevron. If they can do it, Husky can do it. They've been a company a long time. Husky has said they want to be a good neighbor, and apparently they dealt very fairly with people affected by paying for hotels and damages. I heard people very happy, so they showed that they're a good neighbor in that way. And since they've shown that good faith, I would implore you to tell Husky that they need to show the community that they care about our lives, your lives, my lives, everybody's lives. The refinery here is on prime real estate. It has shipping. It's close to the city. There is no place that I don't think in the United States that could get another facility like the one that they have here. So you're sitting on prime real estate. And even though Husky may say that they're going to do whatever, there's no guarantee that they're not going to sell and some other company would buy this valuable property. And I have, I've been on my zoning board in my township for a couple decades. I've never heard of this concept of the home rule. It must be a Wisconsin thing. So this would be an opportunity for you to use your power to protect the lives of the people of this community. So I hope that your legacy, all of your legacy, will be that you will be known that you are the people, and you will go down in history, that you are the people that wanted to protect the lives of 180,000 people. You have that power. I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. The final speaker we have listed is, I believe, Janara Hand.
I'd kind of like to hide down under here. Wish I could. Yes, my name is Janana Hand, and I live at 811 East 9th Street in Duluth, Minnesota. I'm an area resident. I just want to say thank you for making Superior such a pretty area. I love all the bike trails that you guys are building, all the murals. It looks like you're working really hard to create a healthy place here. So I wanted to commend you for that. I love coming to see the parks. I love going to Park Point, or like Wisconsin Point, going to the water. That's kind of why I moved up to the area. Is the natural environment is something special that we just don't have really in the area. But I am super concerned also about the hydrogen fluoride. Of course, I'm sure we all are. You know, we could have all just have passed away from that. It was just 150 feet that fire needed to have spread. So it was kind of like our wake-up call. I feel like we're completely unprepared as far as the evacuation, you know, with the gridlocks notification to residents on what to even do. What about people without cars? How are they going to get out of here? You can't just use duct tape to protect yourself from that. So there are other ways to separate these fuel products that are healthier, and there's no reason why we should not be asking Husky Energy to be doing that. Besides the evacuation, you know, the risk of accidents is just too high, whether it's equipment failure or just employee error that can happen from lack of sleep, which many of us suffer from. Yeah, and just the location. We've got our school kids right here. And we should never take that lightly. We've got other options. I'm asking you to have an ordinance that says that hydrogen fluoride is not welcome in Superior, and also to create a way for the public to be involved in this rebuilding process so that we can make sure that it's healthy for the community. And yes, we do appreciate that Husky has said they want to be a good neighbor. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We have nobody else signed up to speak. Is there anybody that missed the opportunity to sign up on the list? I see none. The council has no further business and is therefore adjourned. Thank you.